Hello to one, hello to all. Our journey to the West continues in this episode. Again, it will be from just my memories. As we arrive in Hong Kong, we patiently waited for our turn to dock the boat and disembark. The process was really slow as there were already so many boats ahead of us. Sometimes it felt like we were moving at snail's pace, but at least we knew we arrived safely. I think we were in the queue for at least a couple of days before finally getting on land. We were so grateful to be on land again and off the cramped boat that we didn't have many expectations for the future. Which was a good thing as we were moved from camp to camp for the next months like cattle. The thing was, each time we moved, the living conditions got a little bit better. In the first makeshift camp, directly next to where we got off the boat, I am sure we were sleeping on a hard concrete floor with a mat of straws between us and the concrete. The rice we had was always half cooked as it was boiled in a large container to ensure there was enough for everyone. What did we get to accompany the rice? I can't remember. Could it be that we were just so happy to have something to eat? Maybe. There was a general cleaning area with taps and metal sinks. Everyone goes there to clean and shower, and I think everyone tries to clean themselves as well as they can, while having to keep something on to hide their modesty. Our day-to-day life became a routine quite quickly as we were held behind fences with no activities whatsoever. I think the Hong Kong government was desperately coming up with a plan before Hong Kong was overwhelmed with refugees, as more and more boats were turning up day by day. One day, out of the blue, we were told we had to move to another camp. I remember it was easy being moved as we had very few possessions. In the second camp, we were given bunk beds to use, and I think other conditions also got better. I think we were allowed out of the camp 1 or 2 days a week. The authority knew we could not just disappear into normal Hong Kong society, as the police were always checking IDs, and we needed our daily feed inside the camp. One thing I cannot forget is the large makeshift huts in the camps. The huts were metal-based, and most days, with the sun shining, the inside heated up. It was like the saying, a frog in a pan of slowly heating water. After a few days of getting headaches at the beginning, you learn to hydrate yourself constantly. During our stay in the camps, some mothers gave birth to babies. Imagine being one of those babies. How would you describe your nationality for being there only temporarily? After a few weeks in the second camp, we were again moved on to another camp. I don't think anyone knows what was going on and what was going to happen to us. But we found out the answer a few days after we reached the third camp. As Hong Kong was still ruled by the British back then, with limited space and resources to accommodate the overwhelmingly large numbers of refugees. Somehow, an international agreement was reached to help release the pressure in Hong Kong. The countries that participated will each take a few thousand people. As the refugees progressed through the camps, those ones got to the third camp were considered at the front of the queue to be flown out by the various countries. Whichever country a person ended up in was purely down to chance. If you happen to be at the beginning of the queue when it is a particular country's turn to take people, then you are flown out to that country. There was no magic formula, nor was it a choice you could make to determine your destination. Our two maternal uncles ended up in the US, and one of our mother's cousins ended up in Germany. I guess when it was our turn at the third camp, it was the turn of the UK to accept people. When we got to the third camp, we could tell straight away that the pressure on Hong Kong was reduced, as there were some empty bunk beds that weren't left empty for a while. We learned our adopted country very quickly after we got to the third camp. I think it was within the first couple of weeks. We waited for 1 or 2 weeks afterwards before being flown out to the UK. We landed in the UK towards the end of the summer of 1980. We stayed in an ex-hospice down south for a while before the families were scattered all over the UK. Our family ended up in a little village called Purton, which is 20 minutes drive up north of Wolverhampton. The rest of our family was flown over from China once we got settled in Purton, which was within half a year. As for me, I had to start school all over again from scratch in a third country, not knowing a single word of the local language. As fate would have it, Bruce Lee's films were very popular then, so attending school was not just all about studying. It was also about, can all Asians fight like him? I will leave it here for now.